Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. This is Dee with INF Probably Insights. Today we want to talk about mindfulness in the INFP, or just generally mindfulness in general, but this is an INFP channel. So that word came to me, and I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but I think with everything going on in the world and with us and a lot of stress and whatnot, don't think it's talked about a whole lot in the MBTI community in this way, because it's really not MBTI. But what am I talking about? Talking about mindfulness. I call it being more thoughtful of others, being kinder. We think of mindfulness, a lot of people do think of it as being soft. I think of it in the MBTI world, I think of it as being FE, which we have FI in the INFP. We do think of ourselves first. And what I mean by that, first, is that we lead by our own feelings. We lead by our own values. So in that way, we put ourselves first in a way, as far as dealing with the outside world and what we do. And we do come across as being selfish in that way, which is not true. So how to counteract this, I have heard a lot on YouTube by different creators. There's nothing wrong with it, but I've heard it quite a bit, that you need to harden up, you need to quit being so soft, quit feeling so much. I'm being general on this, and it's not said in these words, but it's kind of like what they're saying. You got to have thicker skin. I'm wondering what life would be like if people would be more having thin skin like we did. What if the world would be more like INFPs or FI dominant? What would happen? Why do we have to accommodate them? Why do we have to accommodate the thick skin? And we're going to pick on anybody. We'll pick on the STJs. Not picking on anybody. But I mean, that was brought up. In a couple of people's videos lately about, when INFPs get stressed out, we turn into ESTJs. We get a little hardened. We get this, that, and the other. I know I talked about it with Pete. I will mention that because it's my video. With Pete about traveling with the STJ, I think whether they're I or E, doesn't matter. I don't recommend that based on how the two of us traveled with one and ended up with similar results. Yeah, we do live in that world, in that hardened world, that organized world, the world we can't get out of the box, the stressful kind of world, competitive world, dog eat dog world, whatever you want to put in there. But what would happen? Use more mindfulness. And that is something I will say, I think that's something that naturally speaking does not come easy for INFPs because of our FI dom. And it's true, I think, maybe of every FI dom, but this is an INFP channel, so we'll stick with that. Does not come naturally to us to want to harmonize with the world. It's about what makes us feel good, what's right for us. And then we worry about the repercussions later. So, yeah, I will say in the last, so I am working on this. As old as I am working on this. tried to get people to come to my way of thinking. It doesn't work. What does work, and it's come in the last couple of years or so. I'll say 4 or 5 years. And I will say, and I do believe this, I say this in every other video, I think, but I do honestly believe this. It has helped a whole lot to have INFJ friends, because they do have the FE dom. I have had those friends. Most I don't have now, but there's one I still do associate with. Got the door unslammed. Have called me out. We've had arguments, debates I call them. They call them arguments. Have called it out of the way I'm acting, which is not the way I intended, but I understand it better now from what place it's coming from. So having talked a lot with INFJs and hung around them a lot and seeing how they react and what their thought processes are, I think it's kind of rubbed off a little bit to harmonize with the world. And harmonizing with the world does not mean going along. It means to me what it means is just being around people and situations that make me feel better about myself. We don't have to hang around people or situations that is detrimental to our health, our mental health, who we are. We may think we do, but we really don't. Unless you're under 18 and you can't get out. There are ways of getting out of everything. And I would just say, generally speaking, I'm talking about the world in general. I'm not talking about severe situations. If you're in a severe situation, as I say, is any type of violence, whether it's emotional, financial, physical, mental, anything, just get out. There are people, places, things that can help you get out. I've been thrown in those situations. I have worked in those situations. So what I decided to do about a year ago, because I hear and I do follow along with a lot of the spirituality things. It's not religion. That's a whole different topic, and I may get into it and I may not, but spirituality and who we are as a soul has nothing to do with formalized religion. Nothing. So get that out of the way right there. But with that, with the watching videos and seeing who I am on the spiritual level, and people say, that no longer serves you, let it go. I know we hear that. I think everybody's heard that that's been on social media. Let it go. If it no longer serves you, serves your best interest. And that's true of anybody. And I've had to let go my oldest child, for example. She told me she no longer has anything to do with me until I get vaccinated for COVID. Well, number one, I can't. That's a whole long story. Nobody will because of medical reasons. Number two, that is manipulation, and it's blackmail. It's not healthy, and I just told her that I loved her. I told her I wished her well, but I wish to have no more contact with her. I'm not going to listen to that, because she would contact me every once in a while, updating what she did, never asking about me at all. Nothing, but she would just turn the screw a little bit every once in a while, and I just said, you've made the choice. You don't want to have anything more to do with me. I cannot be vaccinated. We'll just part ways, and I wish you well. Do not contact me again. And she has not. But that's my own child, that I've had to let go of. But I do feel better. I don't have to listen to it anymore. I don't have that stress of it. And it's not running away from it. It's that's how an INFP can really feel for yourself, is put yourself first, which we don't. It's interesting how we're FI dumb, and we make decisions based on ourselves and our preferences, but we don't put ourselves first. It's the exact opposite. We're set up to be magnets for those who don't have our best interest in mind. So I know I'm rambling, but what if the world would be more like us instead of us being more like the world, and be mindful and work on the FE, make that a little more dominant. And someone asked me, and I don't mention names, I can't remember my own name half the time. Someone asked me what I thought about Ty from Survivor. Most of you don't watch Survivor, it seems. But I have seen every episode. Ty is, I believe, he's in California, but I do believe he's a descendant of Vietnamese. I may be wrong, but I believe he's Vietnamese, but he's Asian anyway. Little guy. He was on Survivor. He was very meek. He was very mellow. He talked to the plants. I do believe he's the one who refused to let them kill the chicken and eat chicken for protein, which was a thing they were doing for a few years. They have stopped the chicken thing killing. I'm glad, because I had to turn that part off. I did not watch that part. And someone asked, was he an FI Dom? Yeah, he is to the extreme, I think. I thought, this little man is not going to make it past the first or second elimination. He's not. He's not going to last long in this crowd of cutthroat people and the game of screwing people over. He never wavered in his beliefs. He never wavered in being mindful of others, of being, you can call, meek. He was almost like a Buddhist monk on there. Nothing against it or for it, one way or the other, but he just reminded me, most people know what that visualization is. It was almost like that. But he made it almost to the end. His social game was really, really good, but he made it almost to the end, so it's not like we're going to be eaten alive if we do that. The world is getting harder and crueler. I will say, and this is going to be a little bit long, but I will say I do keep up with politics. I have a Facebook page I keep up with on that end. I don't know what number the United States is now, but we're well over 200 mass murders this year. I'm doing this in May of 2023. In 2023, we've had over 200, I can't remember what the total is now, of mass murders. There have been more in the United States this year than there have been days. It's getting rougher. I run for example, I run a Facebook group for people who have cats with cancer. My cat had cancer. I had no one to talk to, so I started this group about 7 or 8 years ago. We have close to 2,000 members now. I have an admin team. I have a team that works with it because it's getting big. We are very mindful. We are very empathic. We are the epitome of FI Dom in there, the ones who run it, because the people who are members are hurting. We deal with hospice care every single day. We deal with death and dying every single day. In that group, it does get hard at times, but we keep to it. But what's happening, I've noticed, is there more and more people are joining, and they're like telling people off. I had somebody tell me off the other day, like, you don't need to be in this conversation. You just need to keep to yourself. And so that person's no longer with us in the group. They get kicked out. So yes, you can be mindful. You can be empathic. You can take the high road. You don't have to have thick skin to get along in the world. But when you are run over, you can stick up for yourself. So we were talking in the group the other day, the admins, we have our own little chat, and we were talking. Comments are being deleted left and right because they are just not appropriate. They're more cutthroat than they need to be. And so we decided in jest to have a rule called you can't be an a-hole. I don't know if that's allowed on Facebook, but that kind of thing, because we're not going to change who we are, and we are very empathic, we are very mindful, and it is a social experiment. But like social media, particularly, people don't know that there's another person on the end, or I can say what I want to, or it's First Amendment rights, or it's that's not. I'm so tired of hearing people throw the Constitution around. I've studied it. It's a very small book. If you haven't, read it. There's not much in it. And the people who say, well, that's my constitutional right, number one, there's no absolute right. And number two, majority of these people don't even know what the Constitution looks like, let alone read it. But no, you don't have a right to go anywhere and say anything that you want to. So yeah, so they get deleted. People get banned. We're banning people left and right. So yeah, you can stick up for yourself. So where am I going with this? Where am I going with this is I think if we could, I want to take a different avenue. Instead of saying the INFPs, yeah, well, FI-DOM, and the way to not get run over, the way to not get bullied is to have thicker skin, to be more like the ESTJ world. I want to say no. Let's get the ESTJ world to be more like us, to be kinder to each other, and to walk away. It's interesting. If somebody is doing that, just walk away and see what happens to the person. If they're arguing with you, if they're being hateful or whatever, just disengage yourself from the conversation. My youngest daughter, and she taught me a lot. I don't know what she is type. I can't type her because she is so laid back. I cannot type her. But when she was 5 years old, she was upstairs, and I was in the living room. We had a split level, so we had 3 levels. She was upstairs in the bedroom. I was in the kitchen area, and I was mad at her about something that she did. And I called her, and I said, get down, and I was being a little fussy. She walked to the top of the stairs, and she told me, she said, I'm not going to listen to you when you're in this mood. Get in a better mood, and I will listen to you. And then she turned around and she walked away and went back to her room. And I stood there with my jaw dropped. Here I am. How old was I back then? In my 40s, I think. Here I am, and a 5-year-old, old soul 5-year-old, has put me in my place and not engaged in my attitude. And that taught me a whole lot from a 5-year-old. I've learned a lot from INFJs lately. I've learned a whole lot from this 5-year-old who does have a lot of empathy. So anyway, this is getting to be 20 minutes. I'm making mine longer and longer. I don't know the next time I'm going to be doing another insight video. They do take a long time, and I really want to get outside for the summer. But I wanted to put that out there, and I hope it makes sense. And I know I'm rambling, but just things are mulling around in my head. I think the world needs to be more like us. There are places in the world where they are. They get along just fine. So I don't plan on being in the ESTJ world and being with him. If that means being by myself, I do what I do and participate in that which serves my highest good, my higher good. And that's different for different people. Now, do have somebody I want to mention. If you're still with me, I know there's only a couple of you still here. I appreciate you. I know who the ones who listen to the end. I appreciate you. But one that talks about it a lot that I'd like to listen to in the beginning when I was started was Christina Lopes, Lopes. Look her up on YouTube. I don't think her name comes out a whole lot. She's not MBTI. She's in the spiritual world. But she doesn't do spirituality like woo, 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 like it's going to turn you off. She does a lot of self-development. Those of you who are into self-development and like that part about my channel, I got a lot of insights from her years ago, and she's still putting out videos. So just check her out. It's Christina Lopes. She is a physical therapist and a lot of other things. She's got several degrees. But she's degreed and she's certified. She's been doing this for decades. And she talks about her own challenges too. So anyway, I hope this resonated with some of you. If it does, like, comment. I love to hear your comments. I like the comments more than I like a whole lot of other things, and I like the chats I do. So do that. And think about what I said and comment about what you think I said, if it's going to work or not in today's society. No right or wrong. It's just my idea that I'm bringing the INFP-FI world into reality, into my world now. So until next time, stay safe.